News just in. Juan Guaido has touched down in Caracas's main airport, according to local media. His return had been expected on Monday and is expected to lead to another clash with President Nicolas Maduro. Guaido secretly left Venezuela for Colombia last month in violation of a Supreme Court order. His attempts to coordinate the sending of humanitarian aid into the country have been blocked by Maduro, who says it's a Trojan horse for an attempted coup. The opposition leader has since travelled to Argentina and Brazil to drum up support, but his return home today has the risk of him being arrested. And to discuss more, Philip Turrell, France 24's Philip Turrell, you've been keeping up to speed on this. I suppose wait and see, right? We don't know for sure for now.
We do know
happen.
He's back. We know that from these pictures we've just been seeing where he's touched down at Caracas airport and literally been saying that if the military or the powers that be in Venezuela were to arrest him, that would be a major mistake. And he knows he has the backing of the United States, of Canada, of Brazil, of the European Union. So he thinks he's in a position of force to stand up to the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. So now with supporters who are rallying around the country to show him strength in backing him as their de facto new leader, this is going to up the stakes as far as the standoff is concerned between him and the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. So these pictures of him talking to the press just as he got off the plane in Caracas airport a few minutes ago, literally just saying, it's time now for them to leave me alone. What he does have in his favour is the fact that as the Speaker of the National Assembly, the opposition run National Assembly in Venezuela, he does have immunity, but that immunity is being argued against by the ruling powers in Venezuela, saying because that he has used the term of de facto president-elect when in fact he isn't.
I mean, it's a complicated one, isn't it? Because on the one hand, he did manage to get humanitarian aid, which, is also a form of political assistance from the US and other allies. Colombia is clearly backing that. He's had a lot of support from Brazil's new president as well. But they're stopping short, at least in Latin America, of saying, OK, we're behind a military effort here. So is it a case of Guaido just having to wait and see how the chips fall, if enough support manages to sort of seep away from Maduro and the military structure? Well, it's a waiting game, I guess.
It's a waiting game where it's not just what's going on in Venezuela. It's a much larger international crisis. In Venezuela itself, it will be interesting to see how the government reacts, because if Nicolas Maduro is to arrest Juan Guaido, this is the whole challenge now that he faces. If he is to arrest him, he's going to be hammered by the supporters, the international supporters of Juan Guaido, and that might mean even more sanctions against Venezuela. If he doesn't arrest him, that's going to be seen as a sign of weakness on his part in letting Juan Guaido back into the country, having threatened to arrest him and not doing so. So he's in a bit of a difficult position anyway himself.
Even though he's been saying it's the justice system, it's not me, but I suppose,
Yeah, but he can hide behind the fact
right.
that because of his immunity, he can be left free. On the wider front, you have this standoff between the United States, which backs Juan Guaido, along with Canada and the Lima Group of Nations, and also the European Union. Then you have China and Russia, which back Nicolas Maduro. And as you mentioned, there's all the row going on about humanitarian aid. This humanitarian aid, which is blocked at the borders of Venezuela, that hasn't been let into the country, let in by Nicolas Maduro, who says, if I let that humanitarian aid in, which comes from the United States, that's going to be a Trojan horse. That's going to open the doors to an invasion, even though it's pretty clear that Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. But it's being used as an excuse, whereas Russia is saying, well, we are ready to give humanitarian aid, but we will do it directly to President Nicolas Maduro. So there you have the United States in one position and Russia in another position, and they don't agree on what the right plan of attack is for Venezuela.
Half past midday right now in Caracas?
It's 5 hours? About 1:30 in the afternoon.
OK, well, there's still plenty of time left for events to evolve, and we'll be following that here on France 24 as the evening goes on. Philip Turrell, thanks so much for that.